Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. David Moyes is the new manager of West Ham. Neil Lennon wins Manager of the Month for October. Shaba Laszlo all set to take over at Dundee United. Just a few of the talking points. Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin, will be discussing on the programme tonight. It's a Tuesday as we head towards that international friendly. Our bootroom guest is the Daily Mail's Hugh MacDonald. Delighted to have Hugh back with us. Delighted Ruffy could just basically fit us into his schedule, you know, going on holiday. You don't take holidays in the middle of the season. I've never heard of that before, apart from maybe yourself.
And that was when he was playing.
Traveller, isn't he?
Traveller,
traveller. See the world.
Absolutely. Listen, we've got lots of Scottish people to talk about. David Moyes, it's not quite a snub for Scotland. It's more a case of first port of call was definitely to try and get back into the Premier League in England, Hugh.
Yeah, he was as honest as he could be about the Scotland job. And any time he was interviewed about it, was, you know, basically if anything else comes along, I'll be looking at that first. West Ham, he's got it to the end of the season. I think it's a good opportunity for him, and I think West Ham, I mean, the last opportunity Sunderland was a basket case. Real Sociedad was an unusual one.
Yep.
But this one, I think he's got decent players at West Ham. I think he's got a decent squad there, and I think all he has to do, and it's all as a very small word, but it's probably a big task, is to keep them at the bottom three.
Hugh, I agree with you 100%. I mean, Real Sociedad was quite unusual because they had to sign Basque players and develop some of the youth. And there was a complete imbalance in La Liga. I'm slightly biased because knowing him so well, I couldn't believe, Ruffy, that he agreed to take on Sunderland because, as Hugh mentioned there, it's just a poison chalice with a I'm afraid to say, a board that doesn't know what it's doing.
No, but you're right. But I think he was just at a desperation stage. We needed to get back in. You know, I think he probably himself would have known it was a bad move. But to get your name back in the limelight and people are talking about you was what we all thought he was going to go for the Celtic job, you know, just to get himself back, his CV back in order, you know, and look what Brendan Rodgers has done. You know, his CV has went up dramatically. So, no, I think he's just want to get back in there and show everybody what he can do. Yeah,
even just finishing fourth bottom is a huge success. But I think the bonus for him this time around is he has a board that back him in the January transfer window. And as you mentioned there, Hugh, I think he has inherited some great players. My only problem with him, I've watched him over the last 5 or 6 weeks. If there's a West Ham way to play football, you know, they are the polar opposite.
Yeah, but I think what he's got to do is he's got to form a basis of, listen, see all this stuff about playing attractive football, etc., etc. That's great, and we might develop that long term if I'm here long term. But the first thing to do is to maintain our presence in the Premier League. The amount of money, Peter, I mean, it costs you 50, 60 million a year in turnover not being in the Championship. And again, if you go to the Championship, there's no guarantee, okay, you get a parachute payment, but there's no guarantee you're back in the next season. They're wedded to a huge stadium now. Huge stadium, they're wedded to that. Their game plan is to go forward, is to grow. They would be looking at, I presume their 5-year plan would include European football, maybe a cup final or winning a trophy, a League Cup or an FA Cup. They're sitting down in real trouble at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're 18th with 9 points from 11 games.
Exactly. So the first thing to do at the end of the season, if they're still in the division, and I think they will be still in the division, I think he's a good coach. I mean, I think people jumped on the bandwagon about. We talked about the Sociedad job and the Sunderland job. Manchester United didn't get time. It was as simple as that. He didn't get time and he didn't get the backing.
Although you can put up all the strong points in the case for the defence, Ruffy, but for me, this is the last chance saloon.
Yeah, you would look that way. You know, obviously people, I was listening to some of the West Ham supporters and they're a wee bit 50-50, you know, but again, you know, that can easily change by getting in and winning a couple of games. But you're right, you know, I think this is the time when he has to prove to everybody that, as you said, he is a good coach, and I believe he is a good coach because most of the guys that have trained under them believe he is. So let's all hope that he can prove everybody right.
Yep, we wish him well on the programme. We're going to switch our attention to a manager who is indeed doing well. He's the manager of the month for October. Neil Lennon, I don't think you can wipe the smile off his face with regards to picking up the award and just what's been happening to Hibernian, sitting pretty third in the table. And of course, the award was for 3 wins and just that one sour defeat to Aberdeen, but nevertheless there was a win over Hearts in there, which always helps. And of course the manager himself is first to admit that this squad has exceeded expectations.
I'm delighted. Players have probably exceeded our expectations at the minute. They've had a lot of volume of games recently and they've come through with flying colours. They're playing very, very well, not just winning games, but the manner in which they're winning. They're playing really good football, and showing a lot of character and a lot of quality as well. So, very, very pleased with the overall start we've made to the season so far.
Yeah, this is of course the Premiership, Ruffy, where maybe some people would look and say top 6, but when you watch them and the players that he recruited as well, you know, they really have all seemed to gel, all bought into his plan.
Yep, and I keep repeating myself week in and week out. Two of his best players haven't played for the last month. That's the 2 defenders, Boy McGregor and Fontaine. So everybody that's come in, he's not had a bad buy, you know, and he's took the boy Murray, obviously, and everybody would go, no, that might be a wee bit of hit and miss, but it certainly hasn't been so far. And off with Effie Ambrose at the back, where everybody was saying, oh, he's a bit of a hit and a miss as well, but he hasn't been so far. And he's been positive in all his signing, but I think the midfield, the engine room is where he's getting all his success. Another couple of good buys. The Lithuanian boys are coming in and just doing a solid job in there. And the good players round about are just excelling.
And McGeoch's been outstanding for him, absolutely outstanding. I like Neil Lennon as a manager. I've always liked him as I think he's a clever man. I think he's a clever coach. I think he tapers things to the opposition. He's got this look of you hail fellow, well met, and but he's very, very disciplined in his thinking. And I watched him live at Celtic, where Celtic kind of dominated the first half and 1-0 up, but you wouldn't have imagined any trouble. In the second half, Neil Lennon switched things about, pressed Celtic higher. McGlynn was outstanding that day, of course, scored 2 goals. And I like the look of Hibs, I really do. And I like a manager that I always think if a team, we've all watched Dylan for years, you know, and we've all saw something in him. You know, he's been a good player. But I like a manager that brings a player on. You know, there's a wee jump in his performances, and he's proved that.
Yeah, well, when I was speaking to Sir Alex Ferguson last week,
were you?
I just got a name drop there because obviously it seems to be the show for that. He said that he'd been through to watch one of his training sessions and he was well impressed with him. Now, when one of the best managers ever came out of Scotland and one of the best ever managers in Britain says that, you know you're doing something right.
Well, I know he was very impressed with Neil Lennon's Celtic team. He thought there was maybe one player away from being, you know, a last 16 team every year. I'm talking about the Lennon team, a Tupper up front, Ledley, etc., Wanyama in midfield, and he thought that was a really good side and a really well set up side. Again, we'll talk about David Moyes, Neil Lennon, one bad move, you know, Bolton. But managers, is like what Ruffy's saying. See, when managers sometimes they've got to work, and sometimes they know as well as we do that it's a bit iffy, but they go, we'll go for it anyway. We'll try it. It didn't work out for him, but I tell you what, Hibs is working out for him fine.
Yeah, well, that could have been your dilemma when you were coming to join us, Hugh. But unfortunately, you just made the right move. As far as getting stronger, there's a January window for the Hibs manager as well.
Yeah, I mean that's an ongoing process. You know, we speak to the recruitment team more or less once every 2 weeks about you know, where we may need to strengthen. You know, at the minute, you know, we're short at centre half, but hopefully we'll have McGregor and Fontaine back soon, so that will strengthen that position. And there may be a few chopping and changing in January. I don't want to look too far ahead, but we're prepared for, you know, any eventuality. I'm sure we're going to get interest for one or two players because they've been playing so well.
Still think striker, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think in the last campaign he was in, he had an experienced striker in there who came in whenever needed. Maybe that'll be the case. Obviously Stokes is in and out the now. But the boy Murray continues to score goals, and if they could get somebody else in there who could chip in with maybe 15 goals, that'll be the good for the running.
Between now and then the season.
Where is
Lionel Messi? I was going to say, Ruffy, where is that striker? Could you phone Neil Lennon right now and give him his name?
15 goals is nothing in this league.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, there you are, hey. Cutting edge, Ruffy, trying to get on the back pages like some other people making ludicrous statements. Magic, Ruffy, you're there. Okay, we'll see if we can come up with a few more after this break. It's always good to test your knowledge. We'd like to give you a little teaser quiz question. Here it is. Real Madrid thing sealed it for me, Ruffy. There, I was on the case. I think maybe Nancy Sinatra threw you off there. Although you did come up with a wee bit of knowledge there that got you and I out. I didn't know she'd actually performed a James Bond song.
Yes, I was surprised myself when I found that out. That's why it's obviously stuck in my mind.
Yeah, well, you surprised us because you didn't know which one it was. But nevertheless, 1966 was the year. I think that was actually the 6th time that Real Madrid had won the European Cup, and then they changed the trophy in 1966 to the different trophy, the one that we are associated with now. And Celtic were the first winners of that.
They were the first winners of that trophy.
Yeah.
Designed that year, I think designed in Switzerland that year, and brought to Celtic Park. I think what Celtic have got a replica of it, or were they given it? They were always all winners were given a replica. I don't know who's got the original.
Is it the original size replica or something?
Yes, it's an original size.
So there you are. Wee bit of knowledge there for you. Hugh even tells us where it was made. Let's look at the morning papers, just some of the back page headlines that might have caught your eye. Moyes is the hammer of the Scots, confirmation of what we were talking about in the first part there. And of course there's a tribute there to Tommy Burns and some of the younger players coming through from the academy when he was really at the forefront of it. Nice to see a great picture there of Stephen Davis with his MBE, and he's obviously looking forward to a World Cup playoff place. And then there's Jason Cummings with his tattoos, which I'm sure we're going to get to. That was the Daily Record. Here's the Sun jacket in, and this is Kenny McLean begging the Aberdeen fans, who will obviously go to Pittodrie on Thursday, don't boo Ryan Jack of Rangers. Don't hold your breath on that one. Malky Mackay probably looking at Matt Phillips maybe for a more forward-thinking role. And also Stokes is off the hook for that punch, Ruffy, that you said was only a yellow card. So there you have it. We can actually get away with punching people now, and it's only a yellow in Ruffy's world. And waiting to play his Joker. This is, of course, Jason Cummings with a fabulous tattoo on his right hand of the Joker as well. So, and the next one is the Press and Journal, and it's McInnes' staying power. This is Graham Shinney expecting Derek McInnes to be at Pittodrie after international duty. We'll hear from Graham Shinney on that very point. A number of stories that we're going to talk about now involve new managers. Shaba Laszlo looks as if he could be unveiled as the Dundee United manager tomorrow. Now, will that excite the Tannadice fans, Hugh MacDonald?
I don't think excitement will be the emotion either. There may be maybe slight bewilderment.
I'm bewildered. Are you?
Yeah, I think it's an unusual one. I thought when the rumours in some sources, I don't know what you were hearing, Peter, but I was hearing that there was a link to Tommy Wright at one point, and I thought that's intriguing. But
there were a number of candidates that I thought looked good, might have actually excited the Dundee United fans, and then, you know, and obviously you start to hear little stories. I heard about the package that was on offer, and I think that may well have frightened off a better calibre of manager. I think maybe Shaba Laszlo has accepted the parameters of what he's going to work under with Stephen Thompson. Not a lucrative package, and, you know, having to duck and dive with players in and out.
Yeah, but interestingly, they're still top of the league, well, joint top of the league.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, you know, coming in as a manager, you always come in a manager as a firefighter. We've seen that with David Moyes at the moment, for example. We'll see if Sam Allardyce goes to Everton, for example. And to a certain extent, with the Rangers' job, we're seeing that somebody's got to come in and improve the team dramatically.
Yeah.
This team, you know, I don't think this team needs that much improvement to win that championship. I think there's good quality in that team, particularly in the forward positions. You know, we've got Scott MacDonald, you know, James Keatings, McMullen up front. You're saying yourself, that's a team that should be competitive at the rate. And I think there's no time in football, there really isn't, but I do feel sorry for Ray McInnes. I thought they could have stuck with him at least to Christmas, you know, and watched and witnessed perhaps a revival on the road, because I don't think there was that much wrong with the team. Two bad performances, I admit, that saw him off. But I don't think there's too much wrong with Dundee United.
Yeah, and I won't be dismissive of the qualities of Shaba Laszlo as a manager, Ruffy, because he guided Hearts to third in the table in his one and only full season in charge of Hearts. So he's got qualities, you know, he just hasn't really been at the forefront of any football club of late. So maybe he's got a real chance here. As Hugh said, he's inherited good players.
Yeah, he certainly has inherited good players. I think it's just a blow for Scottish coaches. You know, we have got good Scottish coaches. Obviously, Jim McIntyre. You've got John Hughes, who we're led to believe, and if you throw in Tommy Wright, you know, with the experience. But a club has went for a foreign manager, you know, and that doesn't say a lot about our coaches, who we're led to believe do a good job. And but this owner seems to think that foreigners the way ahead.
Yeah, I tipped Dundee United to win the division. I'm sure you did as well, Ruffy, am I right?
Why do you keep bringing that up?
Sorry, you tipped Falkirk. It was Gordon Smith who tipped Dundee United. I keep thinking it was you. My apologies. Who did you tip, Hugh?
I think I went for Dark Horses Dunfermline.
Yeah.
Although I thought Dundee United and St Mirren were the obvious picks. I still don't go far away. I still think Dundee United are bang in it. Particularly after the result St Mirren endured. So I still think it's all to play for in that division, and that's why I think it's a good job. You're not going in and having to clean out the stables. You're going in there to a team that is already at the top of the. I mean, okay, second top, but the joint top in points. So I think it's a really good job. I think Dundee United is a big club as well with good support, and I think it's a good job for them to get. I wish Zabel well, because when he was at Hearts, I got on great with him there. He was, you know, you asked him a question, you were here the next Tuesday. Yeah. But he was great, you know.
Yep, okay, so we can look forward to another big double-page spread in the Daily Mail with Hugh and Shaba just cuddling up to each other. I can see it now, another contact. Ruffy, let's look to Scotland. Pittodrie, does it float your boat? Are you excited by a game against the Netherlands?
I have to be honest and say no, but I'm sure that will not be the case with the players. There's a lot of players want to impress Malky Mackay. The more candidates that drop out of that one, Malky's moving up the ladder, and if he gets some decent results in the friendlies. But no, I think obviously he's been taken to Aberdeen. It's taken to Aberdeen, you know, to try and get a big crowd in that stadium. I'm sure they will turn up on the night, but not for me.
No, okay.
I want to see them doing well, obviously. I don't
Don't listen.
Don't
Honestly,
think as if I'm not bothered.
Don't do it now.
I'm
Don't
just
do
saying
it. You're already on the back pages with your hard-hitting stuff. Now we can see it all now, because some of the other tabloids will look and say Scotland legend snubs country, not interested in the dross at Pittodrie. So let's concentrate on people who really are into it. Of course, one of them is Graham Shinney, who is really looking forward to this because there's a chance to stake his claim for a Scotland place on a regular basis.
It definitely is an opportunity. Like you said, there's a lot of different faces to when I was here last time. So, and it's a game that's looking to the future as well. So, yeah, it's a big opportunity. Like I said, it's up to us now to go and work as hard as we can and try and implement ourselves in training.
I wonder where he goes in it. I'm trying to work out where Graham Shinney goes in if he was to try and break into that side. I have great sympathy for him because he's not going to get in a left back. And the midfield is an area where I still think we're stronger than Graham Shinney. No disrespect to the lad.
I agree totally. I don't think yet he's proved to be Scotland class either. You know,
yeah.
Simple as that. I think the interesting thing on the left-hand side is that the indications are that Malky Mackay has said that Kieran Tierney is the left back. He's not going to move Tierney about. My view always was that Kieran Tierney should be the left back for Scotland. I thought it was madness playing him at right back. But I thought we should also employ Andrew Robertson on the left side as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if Malky Mackay follows that, maybe plays a 3-5, or he plays a 4-4, or a 4-5, where he plays Robertson wide left with Tierney behind him. And that's a powerful left wing. I think my view always is to play the best players in the best positions, because we haven't got worldies. And I think that my view was that playing Kieran Tierney at right back was an absolute waste.
Yeah, I think we all saw that on the night. We all felt sorry for Tierney because he wasn't getting that charging full-back role that he plays with Celtic, getting into the other opposition's half, putting quality balls into the box. It was just a sort of a handbrake and a halfway line because obviously the other teams had identified there was a player playing on the wrong side of the park, so they put somebody on that side and he was just there to defend, and you get the best out of Tierney when he's going forward. And I agree with Hugh that they would have to find somewhere for him. I think he's more of a threat than Robertson.
Okay.
And I think the Scotland job's a very, very good job at the moment, Peter.
Yeah.
I think not only is there more players coming through, but I'm not bored of listening to the viewers, but if they want to have a look at the Nations Cup and how the Nations Cup's set up, that gives us a great chance of qualification.
Okay, we're going to talk about that Scotland job right after this quick break, and question number 2 on the way now. Did you get that, Ruffy?
1 out again.
I got it.
Yeah, 95.
Still got it.
Yep.
95.
You've got to be happy with that, Hugh, haven't
Very
you?
happy with that. I remember Jumanji briefly, and I remember that. I think that's what gave it away.
Yeah, and Bergkamp's got to be one of the best signings of all time in Arsenal. He's got to be in your top 3.
Who signed him for Arsenal?
Don't tell me now. Is it Bruce Rioch?
Nah.
Well,
there you go. Everybody always gives Arsene Wenger credit for it, but it was a Bruce Rioch signing.
Yeah. He was magnificent, Ruffy. He scored one of the best goals I've ever seen. I mean, there's 2. The one against Leicester's up there, but the Newcastle one's just outrageous.
Is that the one where it goes over the top and he brings it in one motion and hits it?
No, this is
Newcastle
the one where it's
he chips it round the other guy.
He flicks it one way. Yeah, spins.
And there was a goal in the World Cup, remember, that came to him from 60 yards out.
That was against Argentina, wasn't it?
He just volleys into the net. I mean, he's just marvellous football player. And apparently, if you talk to the Arsenal players that played with him, he was really I mean, outstanding in training. Haven't had to be precise. Haven't had to be the same, right way. And then, of course, he had all this going on in his head about not flying, etc. It doesn't fly to this day.
Yeah.
His book came out a couple of years ago. His biography came out a couple of years ago. Smashing book as well. And he still said, "Nah, can't get me on a plane."
Yeah. I thought you were actually going to say you'd interviewed him there. That would be a good interview.
No, I did interview him, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Is that top, Sir Alex, for the show tonight, Ruffy, or is that...
No, I think Sir Alex is tops. Sir Alex is tops, but Bergkamp was great. I'll tell you where I interviewed him as well. Walking up from getting my piece for my dinner, he phoned me. He returned my call, and I stood in the pavilion in the pouring rain in the awning of the pavilion seat with my notes. Write it all down as he poured out his wisdom to me, and I Glasgow on. But brilliant guy, really good guy.
I'm happy with that. I think he deserves a couple of points for that one. Bergkamp interview is up there as well, Hugh. Well done. Fantastic player. We were talking about Scotland just before the break. I think Malky Mackay is now looking like a shoe-in, I thought David Moyes would have probably taken it if suddenly the West Ham job hadn't appeared, but I think Malky's now looking as if, barring a thumping and a disastrous formation and a calamitous performance on Thursday, I don't see anybody else coming out of left field.
Well, it all depends what the SFA's procedure is here. I mean, are they hiring people to go out and headhunt? Do they have a sort of strategy built up of what boxes they want ticked? I don't know. But the sounds that are coming, I thought one of the most interesting things was when Malky was asked to rule himself out of it, he didn't. Now, normally you would have expected a performance director to say, "No, this isn't my job."
Yeah. But can he do both? Someone suggested that maybe this is, I'm not adding any credibility to this suggestion, but they suggested that maybe that's to the detriment of Project Brave. Can you do both? There's not exactly a lot happening over the... I mean, Project Brave is, here's the structure, here's the remit, everybody get on with it, and then I'll monitor it.
Well, there's an element to say that Craig Levein was doing both. Like, Craig Levein was the head of Scottish football basically when he was Scotland manager. He was looking at all the teams coming through as well. As his remit as Scottish national coach was all the teams. He had an overview on all of them. Listen, Peter, if they turn round and they want him, they will make it out that they can do both.
Would you be happy with him?
I still have grave doubts about Malky. It's still something in me, not as a football manager, I think he's, but I still going back to the text, going back to that. I know everybody's due a second chance, but somewhere in me, it still really unsettles me. A national coach having that in their background. I'm all for giving people second chances. I just think it might have been a bit too easy, a bit too quick to get back.
You think so?
That's my view.
Oh, can I counter that by saying to you of all people, especially...
Oh, me of all people?
Well, I'm wait till I finish the sentence before you jump in. Unusual for a journalist. You of all people being on the Hall of Fame committee with myself, there are many people with questionable backgrounds and things that, quite simply, if you look back, we're in a world now where people are going back retrospectively, rightly or wrongly, but they are looking at people's conduct, they are looking at the way they conducted their lives. And I can remember someone questioning someone who was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I said, well, wait a minute, I'll counter that by saying, if everybody's going to be whiter than white to get into the Hall of Fame, nobody's in it.
Yeah, I agree with that, but what I'm saying is, and normal managers, I would agree with that, saying that a job in, say, the private sector, if you got a club job, I just think if you're a football association, Scottish Football Association, you've got to be white and white. This man is going to meet Asian kids. He's going to be interacting with homosexuals and as a leader of your institution.
Yeah.
Now,
What about remorse and going through?
Oh yeah, I know. I just think it was just too quick. To me, it's just too quick. I just think
it's a good few years ago now, Hugh.
Well, not really, and it's a couple of years ago, and I just think that everything was sort of rubber stamped very quickly and through. I've got no. I mean, we're talking about this at some length. I'm not even. I have no sort of huge, strong reservations. I'm just saying that somewhere in me, I must be honest about this.
Yeah.
There's something in me that just doesn't sit right with it.
And that's what would rule him out for you.
Well, it's too late now. He's got the. I think he's got the big job as performance director. I think once you've broken that principle, well, why not make him? But I just think if you're an ambassador for Scottish football, not for a club, not for an.
What is that? You suggesting then that for the national job,
I think you
have to have a greater standing than even if you took a club job.
I think you've got to be, if you're in a performance director where you're working with families, with kids, with the whole, you are a national figure dealing with national issues, dealing with parents and kids across the whole spectrum of race, colour, sexual orientation. I think you've really got to be. I think you can't have parents going up and say, "Is that the guy that did this? And is that the guy who did that?" That's my view.
Yeah, I must admit I'm going to disagree with you on the basis that I do believe people have to have a second chance, providing, of course, I think providing, of course, that like any court, Ruffy, people look into people's background and say, "Well, wait a minute." You can make mistakes, you can be stupid. Let's take the evidence of everything that you are as a person. And I think maybe I could be accused of being biased on the fact that, knowing Malky as I do for such a long period of time, I'm not going to dismiss his act of absolutely, it's just, I wouldn't even say stupidity, it's just wrong. But I think you need a second chance on the basis of all the other good that outweighs it. In my view, and I wouldn't have any problem with him becoming a Scotland manager. Again, I look at the qualities that he showed at previous clubs, and he's been sacked like many a good manager. I think I'm definitely in the second chance campaign. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm in the second chance campaign as well. I know where Hugh's coming from, but one of the reasons I would have doubts about him taking the job is obviously experience at that level. I like a Scotland manager to be a Gordon Strachan who's done it, at a high level in Europe. I know he's managed down in the Premiership, but I prefer him to be a wee bit older and a wee bit wiser.
Yeah.
But as you've already said at the beginning of the show, the candidates are falling like flies. We're waiting, and Malky Mackay would, for me, be a candidate because he's been there. We know what he can do at Scottish level, but he's waiting in a club. David Moyes has taken a club, so the candidates are falling very, very fast unless we go down the foreign route again, which I'm not really a big favourite of that either.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Hugh, if I can't see somebody else there that he's mentioned Alex McLeish, and I think he's had his time. Because I know, no disrespect to Alec, I know what style of football that he likes to adopt, and it worked to a degree with Scotland.
Yeah, I think though the big question is are they going to be exhaustive in this process? That's the big question. Are they going to sit down and say, listen, we're really going to go and we're going to scour the world for the best guy that can get us to a final?
Well, I'll give you that answer, no. Well, they're not scouring.
Yeah, and if they're not scouring, and you don't have to be, by the way, this doesn't involve a lot of money. The Scotland job is marvellously well paid.
Yeah.
You would get really good candidates for it.
Well, it's $500,000.
Exactly.
Yeah, can I ask you this? I'm saying $500,000 as if it's $500,000. I take it in the order. Just one little footnote to the break. I've got Ruffy's thoughts on it. It's still going on and on about this moving from Hampden. Which camp are you in? Moved from Hampden. I mean, I noticed Chris Boyd, who played at Murrayfield, said he thought it was great.
Yeah, Murrayfield's as an interim solution. I'm still a Hampden man. I would like to see Hampden work. It might be it's because I'm traditional, old-fashioned, etc. But I just think a national stadium, I've got it there. I would like to stay.
Yeah, okay, I'm in your camp on that one. You're in that camp as well, aren't you, Ruffy?
But I'd like to try and find some money to rejig it a wee bit and make it a wee bit more exciting.
Well, I've told you how to rejig it.
Yeah, behind both goals, yeah.
Hopefully we'll try and get a bit of traction on that when we speak to Stuart Regan. Okay, always good to go into a break with all three of us agreeing with each other. That's quite unusual. We are about to give you the final question, see how you fare on this one. Hugh and myself have got a point. Ruffy, diddly squat. Did we all blow that?
Can I get a point for being the nearest?
No.
No, you weren't the nearest.
I was 91.
Well, I was 93, so how's that nearer than 93?
Yeah.
If you're underneath, it's nearer than above.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, isn't it amazing when he's trying to be stupid and starts to whisper? Anyway, you're not getting a point for it. 1992. Okay, let's switch our attention to some clubs who've had players speaking today. First of all, Rangers, because there seems to be a bit of time announcing the next Rangers manager. There doesn't seem to be any great rush. The front runner has always been, over the last week or so, Derek McInnes, but no rush to get him in, Hugh.
Yeah, it's a strange one at the moment. Rumours that the board aren't unanimous on getting Derek in. Rumours and reports as well that there is a faction within the board that are interested in staying with Graham Murty, as perhaps to the end of the season as well.
Yeah.
And there's also speculation about the release clause and how much it will cost to get Derek McInnes in. And given the financial figures that were released on last Friday night, and we know that financial figures released on a Friday night 8 p.m. are never good. That's always a clue. Yeah. You just wonder what, how much money is there and how much money they have to expend on a manager.
Well, you just have to look at the facts that are available to you and that are non-contestable. One of them is the fact that it's £6.7 million of a loss. Secondary to that, they've got to find £4 million before the end of the year.
Yep.
Then there's a further £3.2 million. Now, if you throw into that the potential get-out clause for Derek McInnes is $800,000 plus his own package and his backroom team, and then try and finance players in the January transfer window to get Rangers as close to Celtic as they possibly can. I don't see you having much change out of what, 10, 12, 13 million. Where's that coming from?
And getting rid of Caixinha as well. That wasn't in the figures. So presumably him and his staff have to leave with a financial package as well. There's been no statement about whether Warburton has been settled either. So is he still getting paid, or is he still, is obviously I don't think he's getting paid, but is that still in legal hands? So yeah, there's so many questions about it. I think interest. I mean, the Rangers story is always fascinating, but when you're getting a quantum of debt going up to maybe 20 million of debt before over the next couple of years with the soft loans going in, you're looking at yourself and saying, well, where does it go next? And I mean, I always raise the point, who would be interested in taking it as well. It's not the job that is, hugely attractive given the dominance of Celtic at the moment. But I'm led to believe that that Derek McInnes is interested in it and does believe that that it's a job that got good prospects. But an intriguing couple of months ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Graham Murty is doing a sterling job. 2 games, 2 wins. He's the interim boss, and Danny Wilson, the Rangers' central defender, says it's a good, safe pair of hands.
I think obviously the manager going with Murty coming in, he's a safe pair of hands. Like you say, some of us have worked on before. We've got a lot of new faces who haven't, but he's come in and he's handled himself impeccably well. We as players have responded with 2 victories, and like I say, if he's asked to take over for a bit longer, then we'll give him our full backing.
Yeah, if anything, Graham Murty's buying them time because, you know, he's his own man. He's playing the players that he wants to play, and they're changed from the life under Kashinya.
Yeah, he's went back to exactly what he did the first time when he went to play Celtic. You know, he looked at the players that he's known for a long time, and he's looked at the level that they're at, and he's set a team out that was hard to beat. Now he's reverted back. Obviously, bringing Kenny Miller back was not a no-brainer. I mean, you don't have to rocket science for that to happen, but he has been able to bring in the boy Wilson. He's given the young boy McCrory a chance. You have to give him credit for that. And everything's good just now. I just wonder if we could fast forward to the next 10 games. If they're as successful, will he still be, you know, regarded as the guy who could go to next year?
Yeah, of course you mentioned McCrory. Danny Wilson's been heaping praise on the young defender.
I think you can always try and guide somebody as best as you can, try and help them along, but you know, at the end of the day, they're going to have to make their own way, their own mistakes, get their own learning curves. But Ross has done great since he's come into the side, and you know, long may it continue for everybody. You know, with Ross, you don't want to build him up too early, but you know, he does have a good head on his shoulders, and he's very able when he's playing. That's clear to see. Everybody that watched him the last few games knows how good a player he could potentially be. But we just need to try to take the pressure off him. You know, we and the team, when he does play, need to help him as much as we can. But he'll go as far as he wants to go. Like I say, he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's very capable. And we just need to give him a wee bit of time, a wee bit of support, and I'm sure one day it'll come for him.
Couldn't pick a better boy than Danny Wilson to give him advice.
Yeah, but it's interesting as well, isn't it? You know, you know how brutal a game it is. I mean, Danny Wilson's talking about there, and he was a Liverpool player.
Well, that's exactly it.
And it just shows you how fragile and how things. I mean, he's coming back now and seeing. But yeah, McCrory looks a real deal.
Yeah, okay. Patrick Roberts was speaking today. Of course, one of the things that caught my eye, Ruffy, was Tony Cascarino. There's a name. Said he doesn't rate this unbeaten run that Brendan Rodgers has been talking about. I think Matthew Syed in the Times actually wrote a good piece on it, saying he does deserve credit. Henry Winters also had his say down south on what Rodgers has achieved up here with Celtic. It's all about opinions. There are, you know, pros and cons on this one.
Yeah, but I think if you look at the majority of people down in England, they just don't rate Scottish football. So if you were to go on some kind of run, you know, that's the first thing they're going to say is, well, it's pretty average football up there. Celtic, with the capabilities they've got, should go on that kind of run. But it doesn't matter what team you are. Anybody to go on the number of wins they've got is an incredible feat, because there's no given time that you're going to win every game you're going to play in, but they have done it, and so, you know, full credit.
Yep, this is what the Celtic winger had to say on this 63-game unbeaten run.
Yeah, I can remember that game we played Motherwell. I think it was at home, it was the last game of the season. Kieran scored his first goal, which I set him up, and then I scored as well. So it's nice to be here throughout the whole time, and obviously didn't play on Saturday, but it's nice everyone to be involved, and it's a good occasion for the club. Yeah,
I don't think Celtic or Brendan Rodgers need any kind of acceptance from down south. Tony Cascarino, whoever.
No, but Cascarino's fine. I mean, it's just, you know, you pay guys for their opinions, and he gave an opinion, fine. I mean, I think the thing about, and there is a level of point which is correct, that Celtic are far ahead of him. I think the Celtic record is impressive because of his longevity. You'd expect there to be one bad game in the midst of all that, at least one. Right.
Okay, I'm going to talk about one individual to finish that you would expect him to play maybe one bad game in the 800-odd games that he's played professional football, but I'm struggling to think of one. One of my favourite midfielders of all time decided to hang up his boots yesterday at New York City in the MLS League, and when you look back over his career, it's a special one. Andrea Pirlo. Right, there's a phrase that comes to mind, Hugh. Too cool for school. He's just unbelievable.
It's just when he says, you know, that, you know, he's got a vineyard and makes his own wine. It reminds me of Ruffy. He's got a pot and makes his own soup.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
What legends do.
Oh, that's exactly
That's
what they do.
legends do.
I have to say, Ruffy, you know, I could talk about him non-stop. You know, even I can't believe Milan let him go. Never mind anything else.
Well, Juventus couldn't believe Milan let him go. I mean, they was just stunned that they could get him go. I just think he's one of these players that you just loved watching. I watched him against England in the World Cup, you know, one of these late night games, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, go to my bed, or, you know, or what, and you say, oh no, Pirlo.
Yeah.
Just sit down, put the feet up, just have a wee watch at him pinging the ball 40 yards.
Is he in your top 10?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
I think it's in this day and age, you know, when we're paying players 200 million a week and whatever, and you get somebody like him who isn't getting anywhere near that kind of money.
200 million a week.
No,
Who's on
a year,
a
year. It's a slight mistake.
Honestly.
A year, it's a year.
He's just making all
Well,
his buying strikers. He's going 15.
You've just noticed. I can't believe you.
You're plotting out here.
No, absolutely. Listen, he's in Ruffy's top 10. That's all we need to know about. Thanks to Ruffy. Thanks to Hugh MacDonald. From myself, Peter Martin. Pirlo, one of the best players.